Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. It's really a pleasure to have Maurice with us today. As you know, nowadays we have a lot of confusion about the future of business and talent management. So building resilience has been a topic of interest for many years, but it has been often pushed towards the end of action and plans due to business leaders not seeing its true value. Today, we have Maurice Faber, Regional Managing Director of Olympus. Welcome, Maurice, and thank you for sparing the time to be with us. Maurice, good evening. Maurice, he will be joining us to discuss the value of building resilience for businesses across the world, and especially now more than ever. Hello, Maurice. Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Good evening to all. Good evening, Nairoz. Thank you for having me here.
Pleasure. Thanks for being with us. So, speaking about resilience, and we were actually talking about this earlier, that especially nowadays, you've seen that it is more important and it's more relevant to our, if you will, current reality that we are living. In your opinion, what are the problems the industry is facing, and what do you do? What do you propose as a solution?
Well, I mean, industries nowadays are, of course, facing the problem with COVID, obviously. It is a pandemic which we haven't witnessed before. And the core problems, I would say, we will come through the questions, but the core problem which we are facing nowadays is still with deliveries at this moment of time, having urgent deliveries for equipment, and that's maybe something where our listeners could help, that we could eliminate some of the paperwork like stamps, certification, embassy stamps, and so on, especially when people work from home. We have many shipping documents or certified documents which get lost in the process. And I think for others, this moment of time, that's one of the ongoing challenges.
Thank you for that. And speaking about the concept of resilience, what can you tell us about the concept, and how do you define resilience, and why, in your opinion, it's an important thing to build in an organization?
You may have wondered, or you may have witnessed, let's say, that people, when they face a disaster, a panic, any kind of problem, some people act very calm, and others create or get into a panic mode and get unrealistic. Well, those people who are able to stay calm have what psychologists call resilience, and it is an ability for them to cope with problems, to look at the status quo, look at the real challenge, and look at alternatives, how they can solve their problem. And being calm and having this resilience, of course, will help you doing that. And the same, like that applies exactly to companies, respectively regional headquarters, which we have a lot in Dubai. So they the same. If a headquarter is able to, or has the concept of resilience, then it can adapt quickly to complex situations, changes in major markets or pandemics, like what we have now currently. That's what I would call the concept of resilience.
Thank you. Great. And, we've discussed, for example, some programs like, the program we talked about, Resilience to Brilliance, and something maybe similar as well that we have worked together on. What do you think the benefits that an organization can?
So the benefits of an organization, like if I take the case of Olympus now, we had implemented core values long before this happened. which are integrity, empathy, long-term view, agility, and unity. And especially agility now is what is helping us in coping with such a crisis and being ready to make fast decisions and adapt to the situation. The benefits of resilience of a program like resilience, what they call resilience to brilliance, or some call it also from breakdown to breakthrough. So the team resilience nowadays is a new kind of employee engagement. And the general idea behind this that employees which are happy will of course work better. So they will feel good, which will result in higher productivity, hence a better margins, have a better profit, and reduce sickness, employee turnover. And this, of course, is a significant potential for return on investment. It's of course difficult to measure, because you couldn't really measure it, but it is clearly visible, not in numbers, but in feelings.
Great, and it's really interesting to see, as you mentioned, that Olympus had it as part of your values even before the crisis. But what's your opinion about other practices, let's say, around us? Do you think resilience needs to be monitored only during crisis, or is it something that needs to be checked on regular basis?
Well, when news of COVID spread, organizations began considering how it would affect supply chain access, product launches, employee well-being, business continuity, but many failed to consider the importance of a resilient business model. Resilience definitely needs to be monitored on a regular basis, and it has to become a core value, like in our case, which we cover under the agility, and which we implemented well before, so we were lucky and were able to cope.
Great. And if we go again to COVID-19, in your experience, what kind of an impact you have noticed on employee resilience during the crisis?
Well, really a lot. There were many positive surprises, and I would say that this pandemic had a huge learning effect for companies, for myself, and I think for many managers and many people, because I would say many managers or department heads had a doubt whether some team individuals whether they could still perform at the same level when working from home than being in the office. So you always have a doubt, will she or he still work and do what is supposed to do, or watch Netflix? However, what we found out is that employees work even more focused and even better quality from home than in the office. So just to give you an example, implementing a new major software package in a global company takes normally very long and gets overplanned. When COVID came, since we had to do everything virtually and our technology was not really ready or not at optimum level to have everybody working from home, so we launched MS Teams. And since it was urgent, we launched it basically immediately. And with all surprise, it went fine. Of course, there were some glitches, some rectification, but all over, it went absolutely fine. So it is surprising what people can do if all work in a team and are ready to do it.
So if I understand correctly, because you prepared your team earlier, so when the crisis hit, you were surprisingly having those positive impact rather than, getting into a panic mode, which is, I believe, great. Speaking about how working from home worked for you and your team, do you believe that we will be back in the office anytime soon?
Well, in our case now, our service team was working the whole time. So our workshop, repair workshop for our healthcare business, since that is critical equipment, hospital need to be functioning and we have to be available. And our team really, I have to honor them, they did it and they worked the whole time. So for the healthcare and the safety equipment in our industrial business. This represents roughly 30% of our workforce. And since the 15th of June, we returned to the office with between 50 and 70% of our workforce, depending on the position. So we did a roster that people who would work together are every second day together in the office, so that they are not the same day, but overlapping, keeping social distancing and all safety precautions, of course. And so we keep it free that people who want to come or have to come to the office come, and others will come according to the roster. And I do not see in any time soon that we have 100% in the office. I would say at least not before September, October. I wouldn't see that happening. And I was even, the other interesting thing is, with this pandemic is we start thinking whether we need the office at all, whether it can be reduced. I mean, it is a cost factor. And in this case, if you don't need everybody in the office, so why not reducing the office, getting another working style and keeping this virtual more? So it creates new and very interesting ideas. And I think we are going into a new normal. And whether the old normal will come back, I am not so sure.
Yeah, it looks like that we are evolving into a new era as we speak. And I think, like you've mentioned, the challenge that COVID forced us to accelerate our evolution and to try to adapt and be more agile. What kind of strategies that you have implemented during the time when you had all your employees working remotely, in terms of being able to empower them while you're not really in the same place and working, if you will, on a virtual platform?
Well, in a crisis like this, I would say it is the best opportunity to show our employees that our values such as empathy, unity, agility are not only nice words, but also a virtual part in our leadership culture. And it is a time where managers or our leaders have a strong impact. Good leadership is now what is needed, and to calm down a team and to keep the transparency in a team. What we have done to reduce that people are afraid, you take that away as good as you can. Of course, everybody is afraid. Myself, I am afraid. But what better you are informed, what better you can cope with it. And so what we did is we had new communication platforms. As I mentioned, we implemented MS Teams. So we had a lot of department meetings, team meetings, workforce meetings. We offer training online to use this time and train our people while they were at home, so that we can use the working hours also for training. We had coffee breaks, virtual coffee breaks, just 10 minutes, just talking between each other. What is new? What are we going to do? Some jokes, how we are coping at home, and so on. And we had regular town hall meetings in which we had the whole stuff. Everybody could ask questions, and we informed them about the latest from the authorities, ministry, what is going on with COVID in the different countries. We invited twice medical professionals. Mediclinic was so kind, and a medical doctor gave a presentation of COVID and answered questions. So that helped a lot for the stuff that they knew that is what we have to do. And of course, strengthening skills through training. We introduced digital signatures to not to send documents via courier from home to home, but we did everything in a PDF file and with digital signature. This is helping quite a lot.
Great. It seems that you've got it right, and everything have been working well for you and the team, which is great to hear. How about the rest of us in terms of our sector and industry? What do you think needs to be done to ensure that we're doing it right, and what can we learn from such an experience that we had?
I think we are all learning a lot. What companies now have to do, and the ministries for that matter, governments, is to adapt to the new situation, companies to the new market. The market changed, our environment changed, and also the buying habit most likely changed. Governments it will be a good information on how to spend in healthcare sector using the pandemic to avoid future pandemics and make us ready for the future, and that we all stay safe. The government of UAE, I think I can only congratulate the Ministry of Health of what was done in this country. I think we are all happy to be here. We are in one of the safest countries in the world if it comes to this pandemic, and in general as well, health safety as well as safety for the family. So I would say we will learn a lot, and it is an interesting time. Our generation will go, unfortunately, into history.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. Unfortunately, as you mentioned. Yeah. I forgot to mention to our audience that we can take questions. You can post them either on Facebook or YouTube. Maurice, it's always a pleasure, and your insights are very insightful. Any last advice you would like to give us?
No, I would say stay all safe. I think that's the most important. And remember that the virus is there and that we are all responsible to save ourselves, our family, and others.
Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been really a pleasure and very informative for me, and I'm sure for all our guests as well. I would like to be able to thank you on behalf of everyone. If you have any comments or any questions that you couldn't post it now, feel free to post it on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on any of our platform. We have a question. So a question came, Maurice, about a colleague asking that I want to learn more about working from home key challenges. What are the most key challenges for working from home?
For me, I mean, I think I answer in my own on my own behalf, and also some colleagues I know that they have same challenges. That's to separate office from family life, from private life if you work from home. That's for me the key challenge. You get up at 6 or whenever, and the first thing you do, the laptop is so close, you go in shorts, in t-shirt, and you forget the normal working habits in a way. You forget your beard gets longer, so you don't shave if you don't have virtual meetings, of course. And it's hard to separate both lives.
And I assume that will be even harder for the female working force, especially that they have to, follow with their children and the e-learning and, all the other challenges. Some may say that females tend to have kind of built-in resilience. They're resilient by default, being mothers, nurturers, multitaskers. What do you think about that?
I can only agree. Female are multitasking. I can only really, they can be proud. Now it's a difficult time when you have education from home, so schooling from home, working from home. Where parents both work, I can imagine that that's different challenges which I don't have. I am above 35 and I'm not no more in that case.
Yeah. No, I was saying that I was privileged that this pandemic happened now, not 10 years ago. Thank God my kids now are on autopilot, which allows me to do things like this interesting, meeting and conversation with you. Thank you very much again. Any other thoughts you would like to share with us?
No, I think thank you for having me. Always nice talking to you, and somebody has questions, I am still available via LinkedIn or via YouTube. I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah, we encourage you all to follow us on our YouTube channel and LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you have a question, you can just post it on any one of these platforms, and we will ensure that we will communicate with Maurice and get you the answers you wish. Thank you so much, Maurice. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Nairu. Thank you, you too.
Thanks. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.